has a lot of strength, but the problem for Afrika is, if you think about how they win games, it's with Keen, with kill threat, with Keen with the actual ability to have a very impactful teleport play with a strong CC of item timings, but was just worthless with how the game kind of snowballed away from the Afrika Freaks. So empowering Keen with something like the Camille, I think, is pretty important here for Afrika to hit their next win.
Well, GP Sejuani banned away here by Jin Air so far. We saw Galio from them over on red side in game 1. They want to ban that to go ahead and complete the trifecta. In the meantime, Afrika don't want that Kalista back in the hands of Teddy. They say, okay, you know what? He's got some wins on it now. He's undefeated still. We'll take that one away, and Skarner will receive a ban.
See if they ban the Taliyah as well. It seems like they're going to leave it up after all of this. And you're right in that Taliyah has, we've heard a lot of whispers. I was talking about the Taliyah hype and how much Taliyah there was in solo queue when we hit 8.2, but the performances on the Rift were a bit lackluster. So it was a two-step plan. One of those steps has already been removed. Ryze still left open. I think Afrika would love to have Keen play some top Ryze, but Ryze doesn't often make it the second round of picks, so we'll see if there's any respect shown here for the Ryze. Afrika Freaks, what they're going to decide on final ban.
So Ryze, Zoe, and Galio, all three available here at the moment. And Ryze will be the final ban from the Afrika Freaks. So Jin Air, do they want to just first pick Galio for Grace? Very well could.
His Zoe was also sick as well, but because Galio does well against Zoe, you take the Galio over the Zoe.
If they just straight locked Draven, I would have lost my mind. But yeah, Galio available makes perfect sense. They will go ahead and snatch that one up.
A big Galio expected here. Faker jumping around all over the Rift on that pick many times recently. As I said, they're happy to have Galio laned against Zoe. They're happy for the Zoe matchup to come up for the Galio, so that's why you take the Galio over the Zoe. But maybe we're just going to see Kuro going, trying to cash in and get his Cull first Corki going. It's been a big pick for him this season, so definitely no arguments there. We won't be seeing Zoe, so we'll fall through picks and mans in this particular game. I'd love to see the Camille taken at this spot because it is that flex pick. We'll see what Afrika make of this. The 80 carry pull doesn't include Kalista, so Ezreal is always very high priority. They may be going double 80 carry very early. Will it be triple Trinity Force again, Achilleos?
It very well could be, if they can get their hands on that Camille. Umpty does like an aggressive style, and he could take it for himself.
Yeah, it's a nice denial, and it's also the Hextech Ultimatum and Hero's Entrance combination that guarantees some of that initiating. Also outside chance, So One will be running. He's played 2 games of Camille himself this season. I like it as a denial. That's the cost of taking the Ezreal and denying that away from Teddy. And he could just jump on the Caitlyn, probably be pretty happy with that. Wonder if they're going to take 80 carry here or just take the best available and eat some 80 carry bans. I think Caitlyn will be a second round ban if they don't select it here.
Still plenty available though. Tristana, Caitlyn, the Varus is also on the board here.
Yep, a lot of power, so that's why you don't have to necessarily lock it in.
Jinx, can go for the Jinx.
They're not going to play the Jinx. But they are going to play the Vladimir, so no ambiguity. We know what's going on. Top lane Vladimir, mid lane Galio, and a jungle Camille. Afrika, this is the last chance they have to get a first round top laner. We don't often see disagreement in picks, but we're going to see the Gnar. So Gnar does well against Vlad, but we've also seen Vlad do well into the Gnar matchup a couple of times with Snowball. So Magic Umti is going to be paying a couple of visits to the top lane that went completely untouched when it was Potato Tank versus Potato Tank in the first series. Now we have Vlad versus Gnar. It's a bit more oomph in the lane when it comes to damage.
Might actually have some action worth checking out up top. For now, though, going back into the ban phase, Taric going to be taken off the board. Afrika going to be trying to attack Wraith's champion pool, and they're going to fire straight back at Tucson as the Alistar is banned.
I don't feel that they can double ban out Teddy. Teddy's had some great performances on a lot of different champions, so we'll not see double 80 carry ban from Afrika. They want to stop the link up in. They want to stop the Xayah Rakan. That's actually really smart because Xayah Rakan will be even more engaged for the bouncy castle to get going. This bouncy castle's got a couple of holes in it. It's probably going to be just a little bit of initiation there rather than the wanton initiation we've seen from some of those Kongdu Monster and SK Telecom comps. Final ban here with no support selected on either side. So it's decided it will just be the Brahms. The tier list shattered. Suddenly Tom Kench is looking very, very appeasing.
Perhaps Jin Air looking for the Varus.
We'll see. the side of Afrika, they are going to be looking for jungle and support. You think support here because the support pool is already so low in terms of effective picks. Again, a lot of time to think about this are the Afrika Freaks. They're going to lock in Poppy.
Okay.
It's a flex pick Poppy. It's likely to be top lane, but...
No, they have the
so it's a support Poppy, okay.
Yeah, support Poppy for Tucson.
Now, it could also be a jungle Poppy. Spirit has played it, so it's still going to be a flex
That
pick.
would be a bit of a treat now, wouldn't it?
It's probably going to be support. The one thing it can do is it works really good against the hook shot with the steadfast presence, the W from Poppy to deny.
Yeah.
Closing the distance, and Camille has very short range on the Hextech ultimatum, so that might be an important thing to talk about. So expect it to be the support Poppy. Waiting for the draft here. Full bottom lane is what Jinner locks in, and Tom Kench is definitely the tier list choice of supports left up.
Do go for the Varus with that Braum panned away. Tom Kench, the long hover here for Wraith. Might just be the lock-in unless he wants to flip to something a bit more creative. Haven't seen a Leona from this guy in a little while.
They got enough initiation. I think they're fine for him to go disengage. It's going to be on Varus minding duty for most of the team fights. All right, Afrika, how crazy we going? Because Afrika have played jungle. Lulu.
Well, I mean, I was going to
Spirit
mention
has played an insane amount of unique junglers.
The Camille was technically a three-way takeaway since they have played that in the support role. We know that Tucson does have that wild side to him, so...
I'm ready for some wild. Show me the wild, Afrika.
I mean, you might be looking at it already. Oh, God, they're just really...
It is going to be Jungle Poppy. So Jungle Poppy is taken here.
All right.
It is a heads-up matchup against the Camille because Camille wants to get in and invade. He does a Kha'Zix impression most of the time, and the Steadfast Presence usually denies the hook shot from being relevant. And remember, hook shot is the first max from the jungle, so it is all about disruption there. Jungle Poppy from our resident mad scientist. Not quite Jungle Lulu, but it's something different for the LCK.
Certainly is, Spirit. Trying things out here. Jungle Poppy into the Camille from Umti. Umti had a fantastic game number 1 with the Skarner. Constantly isolating people, but as you say, Poppy does have that counter ability to stop the hook shot from coming through. See how this is going to go. I mean, not sure how much Spirit's been practicing this one, but you would expect that he's been running it quite often if he's feeling confident enough to bring this out here in game number 2 when they're already down 1.
It is his 12th unique jungler of the season, and he has been quoted as saying in interviews he always wants to be at the forefront of a patch and find new jungle picks. Not going to be the Nunu. A lot of people expected would have been brought out by now. But to confirm, it's actually our first, it's not going to be a big surprise, but our first Jungle Poppy in the history of the LCK. When it's Spirit, you always sit back and you say, okay, is it going to be in the jungle? If he did it with Lulu, he can certainly do it with the Poppy.
All right, well, backs against the wall here for the Afrika Freaks. A very convincing victory for Jinner in game number 1. Afrika getting their win streak shut down. Let's see if they can turn it around, start a new one here in game number 2 as we jump onto the Rift.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
Jinner fans still hanging in there, feeling bolstered by the game 1 victory. Looking to close out the series.
Now we've got Jungle Poppy as a treat for you guys. Got the Santa or the Christmas skin going on there. Very nice. As you can imagine, Jungle Poppy not going to be the best at farming until the Cinderhulk is complete. Probably going to be Cinderhulk. Still an outside chance it could be Warriors or even into something crazy and going AP, but realistically it's going to be...
Gotta get that hammer shock damage.
I would guess it's going to be the Cinderhulk, so it's going to be largely about the ganks in the early game. Very strong ganking champion against a wall. Gnar and Poppy is certainly going to have a lot to discuss when it comes to the wall slams in this game. If you're wondering about runes, it's gone Aftershock and then into the Inspiration tree. So Resolve for primary, Inspiration secondary. With Q and Cinderhulk will be decent at clearing camps, but to me it's largely about the interaction with the Hookshot Max Jungle Camille and the Steadfast Presence coming through from the Poppy, but also just to throw their opponents off. This is clearly Afrika backs against the wall for the first time in a long time. They won 5 series in a row 2-0. Drop 1 game, and there's the Jungle Poppy. Spirit going mad scientist.
Yeah, again, if Africa do close this out, it would be their first 2-1 victory of the season. They've had 3 losses, an 0-2 to Kingzone, KT and KSV, 1-2s for them, and then everything else has been 2-0.
And talking about the schedule, I think is really relevant, Achilles, because their next match is that top-of-the-table clash against Kingzone Dragon X. They will fall basically next to KT and no longer be cemented in second place if they lose today. Yeah. So there's a lot on the line. They need some momentum. Even a game victory. They don't want to go into that big series against Kingzone going down 2-0 to Jin Air, because then the hype levels for that series do dip.
Yep. Already have the 0-2 loss, pushing them back in that matchup there versus Kingzone before, so want to come in as strong as humanly possible, and already 1 game loss is a bit of a blemish on their record. Jin Air, if they could close this out, this would be the most significant win for them so far in the 2018 season. We're able to take down SKT, but that was during SKT's massive slump. That 2-1 victory. Everything else has just been Kongdu Monster and MVP.
I was hyped about Jin Air at the start of the season, and so on, especially coming in. But
to be fair, when they took down Kongdu, that was when Kongdu was looking like one of the higher up contenders here that we have, but they've since fallen.
I mean, Jin Air is just one of those teams that kind of doesn't pass the eye test, because when I think about them, of course, I've cast all the games. This is game number, 107 of the season. I think, okay, yeah, pretty good start, some promising players. Teddy's been popping off, but 3-5 match score, is a bit affronting there, kind of like how KSV at the top side are doing the reverse of that. But Jin Air have had their moments, certainly. And we'll see if they can actually put together 2-0, like you say, would once again reignite their hopes for a playoff run. This is the last game of the first round, Robin. Still 9 best-of-3s for both of these teams afterwards. And a 2-0 over Africa in the form they've been in is a win for any team in the league.
Well, just going to be slow and steady as far as the mid lane's concerned. Kuro starting things off with the Cull. That nice little boost in gold. Saw him, the Valkyrie already has taken him out. And just going to be a bit of a farm fest around the map.
You're just lucky that the Xayah ban came in, because if it hadn't, and we had a Rakan in this game, we would have had the Hero's entrance, the Heroic Charge. Oh, we should talk about this.
An hour there from Wraith, spits him back out.
Tucson's
going to go low, and he is going to die. First blood going over to the top Kench. Talking about a farm fest, but Wraith, he got hungry. And he snatched him up for dinner.
Man, these aggressive Tom Kenches. The attempt was there from Tucson on Tom Kench game 1, but Camille's here now. They're looking for double.
Yep, Kramer now pushing his way back. Hook shot's going to come through. Doesn't get the lockdown, but they force the flash out of the Ezreal. They'll be trying to rejoin. The TP does come through here from Tucson.
You complimented Tucson, didn't you? In game 1?
I don't remember anything.
Oh boy, Tucson, tried that all-in the previous game, wasn't able to pull it off. Speaking of all-ins,
Kuro taking quite a bit of damage there from the Galio in the mid lane.
And Spirit's like, I'm counter-jungling on Poppy, guys. What's going on? Spirit's everything's kind of falling apart around him.
Taking away the small ones, but Spirit not going to be able to stick around to get the big wolf.
A lot of action in this game, very early. Obliging, following the game 1 pace, where we saw almost kill-a-minute action in the early game.
Certainly are trying to make up for the lack of the LPL right now.
I appreciate it. A little bit of variety. We don't need to have thinkers every time. Sometimes we can have a bit of a fiesta and enjoy ourselves. Glacial Augment is the Tom Kench rune, if you guys are wondering. Saw the buff on, I believe it was 8.2, and now we're seeing it experimented on. Scions are picking it up. Support Tom Kench for even more CC. It does mean that that first auto starts the chain, which inevitably led to the death of Tucson.
Have to be a bit more cautious from here on out. Puts he and Kramer at a bit of a disadvantage, just now hitting level 5 on the Ezreal. So going to be a little ways down behind Teddy and Wraith, who are going to have that Chain of Corruption ready to go pretty shortly, you'd expect. And if it hits, that Ezreal will get popped.
Poppy backed on a ward, so a lot of information about the pathing here of the Poppy. 2 control wards top side, so we're just happy to play a farming phase. Teleported back into lane. Cull more than halfway into being cashed in, so we've seen this matchup many a time through multiple Galio metas. We know that Corki is going to be very comfortable getting into the late game. Will not be a triple Trinity Force game unless Trinity Force Poppy comes back out of nowhere.
Not going to be the Sheen start either, just goes for the Phage.
And it is going to be Cinderhawk from the Poppy, so it's really about just being a frontliner. Omti's already level 6, he's power farmed.
Looking for Tucson here, perhaps. Charges his way back underneath the turret, which is still rather healthy, but the wave's moving in, and they could go for the dive. Kramer a ways away, doesn't have level 6, so cannot throw out that True Shot Barrage to try to weaken the members of Jin Air. They're going to push forward, just flash straight in for the ultimatum. Hero's entrance comes down, and Tucson, you have been chosen. You're the one getting picked on in this game. It would seem 2-0 already for Jin Air as they find themselves a 1,200 gold lead, looking for more as first brick is in their sights.
Yeah, Poppy's trying to take a camp on the top side to answer with some sort of an objective, but Tucson with flash up, flash down. If you take a flash ultimatum with a Galio on your side, you will die.
Even then, it's just going to be a trade with the blue buffs because Umtia's right there ready to take away the other one.
Trade for now, not going to be going to both mid laners, but we'll wait to confirm any details there. Spirit's making a visit topside, looking for a dive himself.
Yeah, stun into the wall, looking for Soan. Will pin him with a heroic charge. He gets popped up, but Soan's still alive, and they have to retreat as the turret shots come through. He'll get a bunch of HP back off the Hemo Plague, and all of it goes awry. Flash now down on the Poppy, and Sohan goes man mode! Jumps right in, and decimates Keen. No time for him to react. Had the flash, but just didn't even know he had to use it.
Yeah, the ignite was there. He started channeling the E, and you think, is it for wave cure? Is he all in? All in was in the mind. 2 kills, 3 kills now for Jin Air Green Wings. They've shown up to play.
Oh my god, I need to lose my tongue after that one. It's getting a little bit hot in here. Huge play from Soan, just destroys the Gnar. I want a replay of that one.
You'll get one eventually.
That was fantastic. Well, Afrika, and again, backs against the wall. They're getting pushed further and further into the corner.
And this is not SKT-esque when it comes to the amount of damage on the Jin Air side. They have Vlad top lane, damage for days. They have multiple threats as Umti will also be building damage from the jungle. So they're not really on any sort of a timer. Afrika will have a very, very strong 2-threat comp, and they will have some great siege options as well. They went for the bot lane orange to just reinforce some engage. Are they going to be able to tie up one person, which is what they do best with the Poppy? Probably not, given how much peel there is from something like the hero's entrance. So let's see how things go here, because it feels like Jin have a lot of options, especially when the gold is already rolling in.
1,000 up here. Not even 10 minutes in. Abyssal Voyage coming through. They're going to try to cut off the Ezreal. That's the Chain of Corruption coming down. He's already down to half HP. Ultimatum to seal the deal. And Jin Air are playing this map beautifully as they add a 4th kill onto the board.
I just love how much wind is in their sails. They're feeling, they're smelling blood in the water, and it's working out. They just keep going in aggressively. No flash on Umti this time. Why not an Abyssal Voyage to guarantee it? Jin Air has spent their break just basically being ready to flex, and they're flexing on the previously 10-0 Afrika Freaks.
It's just everyone is on the same page. They hit the go button. There's no questions asked, and they just execute flawlessly. Even if the Chain of Corruption didn't hit, they still were delivering an ultimatum through that Abyssal Voyage, and Kramer would have been going down.
And it's also a counterpoint to their 3 match wins early in the season, because good news, Teddy's played a decent game, but it's a team performance here. Grace has been the star of this series thus far. Soan with a solo kill in the top side. Umti showing a much better second performance on the Camille after his first performance was a bit all over the place. It was a victory, but on one good decision in the late game rather than an early game. This time it's been early game jungling, and it's actually been a decimation of the previously super reliable bot lane of the Afrika Freaks. Kramer and Tucson were in the argument for top 2 bottom lane based on the first 4 weeks of the season. First series back, not looking like that at all.
Definitely not. Slipping down the chain. Let's say Prey and Gorilla, Deft, Mata, certainly above them, at least for this series in comparison, but it's not over yet. I am not going to write this off for Afrika Freaks, but you can probably have your Glad planes on standby at the moment, because the way that Jin Air started off the series is rather promising.
Closing it out, like you say, and then backing it up. It's already looking, a long way down the line, but Jeanette haven't been able to repeat great performances. A lot of
Here we go, the hook shot into the ultimatum. Kuro will go golden, but can he make it out alive? Does have the flash, will use it. TP coming down from Tucson. Will have to cancel the channel.
Landing with teleport doesn't help them with any sort of relevance in the bot lane, though.
I mean, they landed a hook shot, they used an ultimatum, and they got 2 summoner spells.
Yep.
Flash down out of mid, TP out of bot, so happily traded there for Jin-Air.
Not going to be any creativity from Tucson now with the teleport down. Will we just see another visit the next time Hextech Ultimatum is back to the bot side? Maybe they won't even wait that long as, that was a very nice ward spotted down by Afrika. Didn't catch who put that down, but what's the prediction? They knew their range as well when it came to a potential, I guess you would call it lane gank with the Abyssal Voyage.
Definitely a bit of an MVP ward right there.
Meanwhile, Spirit is farmed up well and wasn't able to pick up a successful dive top lane. In fact, his top laner died, which is the opposite of success, but so far, non-factor in both games. The Italy game, good start, but then, of course, the game snowballed away. Hard to criticize him for that. This game, the Poppy just hasn't been where the action is. The action has been wherever Umti has showed up.
Yeah. Hasn't been able to match the pace. Spirit lagging behind. He says he wants to be at the forefront of the meta as the patches evolve, but right now he's not even at the forefront of the fights.
Different things, but certainly a good line for this particular game where he's been a bit of a passenger, and they can't afford any more passengers. They need someone to take this game by the scruff of the neck, or they will lose 2-0 to Jin-Air. And have I got a team for you to back up against after losing 2-0 in Kingzone Dragon X later this week? You're already thinking forward to what struggle could be like in that series.
Yep.
Maybe Keen can be the one. Good matchup for the Gnar, especially when he gets the Black Cleaver going, but every time Wraith drops out of bot lane, the threat of the Abyssal Voyage and the Hextech Ultimatum following it is real, and that's why bot lane turret is crashed against an ultra-safe lane in the Ezreal at 13 minutes.
This was the worry. With Afrika coming back after the break, maybe things would slip up, maybe they would become their former selves, and maybe Jin-Air would be able to improve. And so far, that seems to be the case.
Precipitous drop from Afrika, though, kind of reminds you of KSV after a few series, really losing what they were all about. Now, it's only one series, so there's still plenty of time for Afrika to right the ship, and it's also a series that hasn't completed yet, but it has been very different from Afrika in this particular pair of games. At least the first 15 minutes has been as Jin-Air focused as can be.
I mean, even if they do manage to turn this one around, you still have to kind of condemn them for their early game here.
I wonder if Kingzone is going to come back and smash, because last time we saw Kingzone was the 39-minute First Blood.
It has been a while.
Does anyone know who's good and who's bad? Please let me know, guys, because it seems like the teams aren't clear.
I have somebody's Reddit comment screenshot and saved, because they said this will be the end of the spring split power rankings, and I'm just like, okay, I'm ready to call you out.
I'm ready to phone
correct or incorrect.
If this was Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, I'm phoning a friend, because I've been front row for all of the games, and yet
I think you lose this.
Yeah, apparently.
I think you lose that game.
Not enough lifelines available.
You should have walked away with the 500,000.
Hey, I said KT Rolster before the season started. Didn't look so smart after the Kingzone game, but who knows at this point?
Well, a rare Rift Herald perhaps being taken here. No one really on that side of the map to try to answer for it. So we'll just be taken down here by Jin-Air, and they can use that to pick up another turret perhaps. I don't know, whatever Afrika did during their holiday break, maybe they should not do it again.
And this is something that I can't substantiate fully, but I know a lot of players took a break. A lot of players, it's a very long season. You know, you had teams like SKT really having a lot of struggles last year with how full the League of Legends season can be. A lot of players took a break when it came to this break. It, of course, was the Lunar New Year, very serious holiday here in Korea. But not everyone takes a break, right? There are still going to be the grinders who are out there playing scrims, playing solo queue. I don't have any specifics on who, I'm not pointing any fingers, but this is the sort of time where a week has gone by with no competitive games in Korea, not even challenges running. A patch has changed. There's a lot of scope to come in and blitz an opponent with something new, or an opponent that isn't fully practiced. So Afrika definitely looking not trademark in how they've played this series. And Jin-Air, they've certainly warmed up in the break.
Yeah. That's the problem. Get complacent. Think that, okay, our standing is so good, we don't need to really practice throughout the break here, perhaps take some time off. Not saying that happened, but it's very possible. Devour comes down there. Wraith pop the shield, will keep himself alive. In the meantime, Afrika pick up Notion Drake down on the bottom side of the map. As this turret keeps getting sieged up, but Jin Air have not been able to break it yet. MT getting spotted, chases in, looking for Tucson, will lock him down, goes in with the ultimate, falls over the wall, has to get out of there. Now, Hero's entrance will get the pop-up onto Spirit. He gets the stun in onto the Galio, but he'll pay for that one with his life. True Shot Barrage getting a smattering of damage across. Coupled with the big rocket there, does chunk Umti out quite a bit, but they can just go ahead and throw down this Rift Herald perhaps if they want to try to shatter that turret.
Yeah, Keeper's Verdict was actually used too early by Spirit, was interrupted by the Hero's entrance. You're not going to be able to knock him away mid-flight. You had to use that afterwards, but got tussled up, dies. His only real involvement in the game so far, apart from the botched top lane gank. And Jeanette's going to keep going. That's what happens when you have Ultimatum and Hero's entrance. Someone is getting knocked up. Now, they're going to die, especially when you're ahead, yes, but that's exactly what's happening in this game. There's a guaranteed initiation for Jin Air, and every time the guarantee has come, so far, the guarantee has been a death to the side of Afrika.
Yeah, the knockup for Spirit just not enough. The interruption there, poor timing, but he's at least on the board this time around. Not going to be the 0-0-0 like we saw in game 1, but
Afrika fans going to not like you at all, Kilios.
It's
you cursed the support, and now you're just having a bit of fun. I see how it is.
Just calling it as I see it. 5-0. They're on the board in kills for Jin Air. 2-0 as far as the turrets are concerned, just stretching that gold lead even further, and they still have the Rift Herald to try to break the mid.
I think Umti should just jungle around the Gnar lane, because Gnar has hit the items that make him strong in the 1v1. Just put down a Rift Herald and that laning phase, or just force the Gnar to react. They've actually got both options with how far ahead they are. Everything is in a great spot for Jin Air. Vladimir, free farmed, already has a kill, ready to go with diving. When you see Zonia second, you know he's ready to proto belt, goes flash into the backline, and try to tussle up what is some pretty squishy members for Afrika. And no closer to getting their builds together. Not even 2 items on Corki and Ezreal yet. If they do have see a Vladimir in the back line, they're done for.
Jin Air now just going to be about accelerating the pace of the game, making sure
How about
that they
a 20-minute back?
Still stay ahead, and you know, I was just about to mention that we have it coming up in 30 seconds, so maybe we'll just see another 20-minute Baron back-to-back in these games here for Jin Air. Call the Forge God going to come through, gets a pop-up there. Great. Getting the Devour on Teddy just to make sure he doesn't take any damage.
It was a prediction there. Prediction on trying to interrupt the Rift Herald, but not being able to do it. So Rift Herald will crash mid lane. Meanwhile, a lot of things happening. It's goodbye, Rift Herald.
It still gets a lot of damage in, but yeah, the Keeper's Verdict not going to be doing a whole lot to save that turret. Just going to be the one going down here, it would seem, as the Rift Herald does get finished off, but Jin Air more than likely going to be happy with that as they keep pushing forward with their gold. Infernal Drake, next available objective for them, unless they want to start that Baron up right about now.
And
but
to their credit,
tells me that's not going to happen this time.
To their credit, Afrika does have a lot of vision that basically says, we would like to contest the Infernal Drake. They have 2 control wards around both entrances to their blue side jungle.
It's a lot of things Afrika wants.
Well, they need those wards because I think it's a good point to make that it doesn't normally matter what you want when you're this far behind in the game, and especially when the enemy team has the guarantee of the ultimatum into the hero's entrance. You need the control wards. You need to know that you're coming out of relative darkness, because otherwise the wombo engage will make you done for. However, they can't have their wards around Baron as well, so a lot of things happening in this game. For now, they're just pushing topside. Baron is the big prize, but they're not going to be able to steal it at 20 minutes like game 1.
Kramer would just love some CS right now. That's what he's asking for. Finds himself considerably far behind Teddy here. Over 50 CS at the moment.
Wherever Umti goes, Jin Air is sure to follow. Galio doesn't even need to be in the conga line here, looking for death on whoever they find.
Might be looking for Kuro here. Does have the flash. It's going to be the jump over the wall. Ultimatum comes through. Kuro going to get locked in, but can they finish him off? Petty goes forward. Will get the trade back there onto the Camille. They still do take him down as Wraith finds the kill. Call the Forge God gets a pop up there onto the Varus. TP coming in from behind, and Jin Air. This could be troublesome for them. Perhaps a turnaround for the Afrika Freaks as they have 1 kill on the board. Grace comes in from the sideline, spots out Keen, waiting as that hero's entrance ready to go, but decides that he's allowed his bot lane to make it out safely, and they'll all peel back.
Yeah, it was a mini Nard teleporting into Grace. Readjust, doesn't use the hero's entrance, doesn't need to invest in any sort of a disengage. Umti went too far in because that time, Grace had actually returned to the mid lane, so wasn't in sync with his jungler for the first time this series, you'd feel. And thus there was no follow-up knock-up. It took longer than expected. 24's Corki turned around, and a 1-for-1 when you're this far behind is great for Afrika. First kill on the board for this game. But Jin Air don't have to overinvest. They go back, they rinse and repeat. The wards have been cleared out around the Infernal Drake largely as well. See what Afrika make of this, because 4,000 gold behind against a comp with a lot of front-loaded power in Camille and Galio around 1-2 items. Whether you can contest this or not is open to debate, but my first thought is no.
Getting the Infernal Drake over for somebody like Kuro with that Corki. The AP, AD both play such a powerful role in his damage output. Would be instrumental here for Afrika to try to turning things around, but Jin Air, they have the vision cleared out. They start this up, and there's just really no chance of a takeaway. Maybe if Kuro was nearby to throw a rocket in, but even then, it's way too risky for him to get picked, so we'll just be a second dragon here for Jin Air. Another cloud on the way.
I want to talk about the purchase a little bit, because we saw Rod of Ages from Faker on the Galio. Abyssal Mask is a bit of a blast from the past, but in this particular game, it makes so much sense. Consider that they have Abyssal Mask, Galio in double AP, which already, yep, makes sense. More Vladimir damage. They also have the Wit's End. They also have flat penetration on the Varus as well, who largely does magic damage in the early game. Void Staff now complete on Vladimir. This Vladimir is going to be doing insane damage in the backline, and they have two forms of damage amplification for the Varus to do sick damage as well. This is super high damage, and it's against a comp that doesn't build magic resist very easily on their AD carry or their mid laner. So the amount of true damage, basically, they're doing to the backline here, with what looks on first pass as a defensive item choice from Grace, is insanely high.
Well, things gonna slow down. We had a lot of action early on, but after MT traded his life for the Corkis, has been playing a bit more respectfully, focusing around the vision, so on. Unknowingly sitting next to that control ward, not gonna be checking the brush, however.
All Afrika can really do is hug turrets and hope that they get, 4 out of 6 in a minion wave, and it's really all they can hope for. Keen will try to create some map pressure bot lane, because like we've mentioned, he's in a great spot item-wise, but Sowan's built for teamfight. He doesn't really care if he's not bossing around the Gnar. He knows that his next teleport play is likely to pay off one of the biggest ways possible.
Such aggressive items.
Everyone hugging the Baron buff that's got most of the good news for Jin Air so far this series.
Haven't been able to take it yet, though.
So much poke coming through from Corki and Ezreal.
In game 1, 3 minutes from this point, we had our second Baron coming up.
They were definitely setting up for it around there.
They spawn Spirit. He throws down a ward into the pit, but the vision's going to be denied. Control ward is sitting there. In the meantime, so on. He is just ripping apart Keen. Transformation's nearly there to help keep him in the fight, but you can see even the Vladimir giving him quite a bit of trouble. True Shot Barrage comes down. We'll spot them out. Numpty knocked down to half HP. We'll take some of that honey fruit and just go ahead and peel back.
That was the last spot check they had. Both the blue trinket was down on the Ezreal. Control ward was doing its job, but had that change. Here comes Sowan at the same time as Umti.
Ultimatum locking down there onto Spirit. Hero's entrance comes through, and the Poppy just gets ripped apart. That was the invitation that Jin Air was looking for. They'll turn back over onto the Baron, and True Shot Barrage, don't think it's going to be back up in time to try to go for the steal.
They have damage, but no way to steal the Baron like you mentioned. What are they going to do here? Giving it up is probably smart, but does it also cement the loss here for Afrika?
Have to be a massive rocket there by Kuro, but he's just now TPing back in to try to find the fight. So on throws down the Hemo plate, catches multiple members, and Kuro arrives with the package ready to go. Big knock up there onto Keen. He has to jump away, burning down, almost dies. Manages to stay alive and get the transformation for a little bit of added HP, but now Afrika likely going to have to exit here rather shortly. Kuro does have a bit of damage, does have the safety of the package still. He was not able to use it, but trying to answer this turret in the mid lane is just a bit too far of a hope here for the Afrika Freaks as they lose the Baron.
Yeah, because they contested for a little bit, there wasn't a minion wave to ride in. Sometimes you'll get an out of mid lane turret in exchange for a Baron. That's already bad. They didn't get anything, so unfortunately, free Baron over the way of Jin Air.
And TP gone for Kuro.
Yep. Not going to be the most relevant thing. You're not going to hit a side lane against Galio and the threat of the Hextech ultimatum with how far behind this team of Afrika Freaks is at, and the item builds aren't going to come in fast enough. Trinity Force usually symbolizes. I say that word. It's one of my favorite made-up words.
It really sounds like a spell.
Well, we'll see if they introduce that later. I haven't looked at Kai'Sa's spells, but this Trinity Force on Ezreal usually symbolizes let's close the game out early. You know, it's usually a snowball choice, but here it was actually to try to battle against all of the early power spike.
Oh dear.
Not a lot of battling happening here.
That's a bit aggressive there, but the Abyssal Voyage is coming through to help try to bail him out. Call the Forge God comes down, gets the pop-up, and now Wraith with the Devour has to flash away to try to keep everybody alive. Drop Rush comes in.
Race to the back line.
Does not find Umpty or Teddy. Now they're turning the fight around Keen. Gonna be the first one that gets popped straight into Tucson. The tanky members of the Afrika Freaks have been deleted. Spirit barely exiting with his life. Same for Kramer. As that massive pop comes out from Soon, and Jin Air will just go ahead and storm down this top lane.
You can make some mistakes about time of initiation when you have so much secondary, tertiary initiation, and damage on the backline with the synergistic builds. It doesn't matter, Achilles. They're able to make small mistakes. They are so far ahead, and the items aren't there. Kramer doesn't have 3. Kuro doesn't have 3. There's no chance for them to win a standing 5v5, and they have to fight, because if they don't, they lose their base.
I mean, almost 10,000 gold now down here for the Afrika Freaks as they just try to poke away. Umpty has taken quite a bit of damage. True Shot Barrage nearly available there for Kramer, but even then, finding the kill would still be a bit of a miracle there for them. Another turret taken down. Inhibitor dead in the top lane. Jin Air with complete control. Oh, you know, I said a bit of a miracle. There you go. The caster blessing comes through for Kramer as he finishes off Umpty.
But it's going to be any more than a bit of a feel-good moment. You have to think, no. Downtown there comes Kramer, but all it does is stop the full 5-man grouping coming through from Jin Air.
You're welcome, Kramer.
Umpty's done all the hard work earlier in this game, so he's just kind of an ult bot now, and if he's ignored, he can do some sick damage with his Trinity Force. But they need Infinity Edge and more onto Kuro. They don't have it. They need another item onto Kramer, who's got obviously a relatively cheaper build. They're going from not going into Infinity Edge as an AD carry, but not going to hit that either. And again, all the synergy here, how much Vlad and Galio are buffing up the Varus damage is really hard to put into words. Every time you see a team fight, people will explode. Picture will do the job there.
I mean, people exploded just there in that last fight. Soon nearly blew up a couple of them. He found his way into the back line, but Jin Air right now looking to perhaps knock down the final tier 2 turret here into the bottom lane. As they start pushing forward, True Shot Barrage will go ahead and try to weaken the wave as they start pushing in. They're going to have that building pressure.
They don't have a
up in the top
buff,
lane.
Though, so the minion wave does.
What?
So how does Umpty decide to use his stopwatch? Wanted to look cool.
All right.
That was a mistake.
Umpty's he's falling apart here.
I mean, the last person we saw do that on Camille, blank, so doesn't want to do a blank impression.
Oh, no.
On the Camille. I feel bad. I feel like I'm bullying poor little blank. But he'll come back one day.
It hasn't been a good season
no.
so far.
Probably wasn't going to need to stopwatch in this game. He's going to get a friendly gargoyle on his back at some point the next time he uses Hextech Ultimatum. But like I was mentioning, with no Baron buff, the minions do die to Ezreal and Corki range poke that they can't really answer. Can Jin Air?
And so on now, mounting the pressure here into the mid lane. True Shot Barrage going to get invested, and Teddy and Wraith are just waiting in the wings, trying to knock down this turret here in the bottom side. Jin Air just trying to draw Afrika back and forth, get some damage in out of the turret, pull them back towards mid, get some more damage in, and finalize this kill. Devour will keep Teddy alive as he gets popped up. He's got to be careful. He's rather low on mana at the moment.
So at the start of the season, a lot of people had the what if, Achilles. So what if Teddy was on a top team? Jin Air have always been around the middle of the pack at best. The cool thing about this game is, for once, it feels like Teddy can be a cleanup AD carry. He hasn't had to make the hard play. Still has a great kill score, 3-0 and 5, almost 100% kill participation. But it feels like we're getting kind of a portal into the what if, because finally his team around him has been reaching the sort of levels we've seen Teddy hit multiple times this season. And Teddy can just be a great AD carry on a strong team, rather than a hard carry AD carry that's either win-loss for Jin Air is how good Teddy does.
Yeah.
So kind of been a treat to watch him just be on the outskirts of fights, not have to initiate and kill everyone himself. And of course, It's always the way. If you have a superstar player, the superstar just wants the rest of his team to reach the level where he doesn't have to be relied on 100% of the time.
Well, so far, it's been a very good game here for Teddy. 0-5, as you say, up a monstrous amount in CS over top of Kramer.
Not a Teddy Horizon yet, not 500.
Yeah, we're not quite into that territory, and hopefully we don't reach that territory here today.
Seeming
but,
unlikely.
It is, I suppose it's within the realm of possibility, despite how very unlikely it does seem.
And now
5 seconds on this Baron.
And now there's some items. Kuro and Kramer have them. Now, they're probably too late. They are 8,000 gold behind, but you see the 3 items on Corki, and you start wondering. There is a team fight that Afrika is able to win against a team as strong as Jin Air, but for that to happen, Vladimir needs to be, canceling a teleport and not be there. They need to kite perfectly.
Chain of Corruption comes through. Arcane Shift does buffer him. And Kramer does jump back. Takes a bit of damage there. In the meantime, ultimatum thrown down here onto Keen. Abyssal Voyage coming through with a hero's entrance. Keen will jump away, gets the transformation, and stays alive. Good call, the Forge God popping up 4, ensuring that there's going to be no further push forward. But Afrika still going to be in a spot of bother as the Super Creep is looking to knock down that Nexus turret, but the inhibitor has come back up.
Long cooldown ultimates used for no gain is a win for Afrika, but Baron buff being respawned is a problem. Keen will have to heal up, does have teleport to get in, but no flash to guarantee a Gnar ultimate. So one doing his best Smeb impression, looking for a flank, but he is on a ward.
Chilling on a ward. Have a way of clearing that. No sweeper for him.
Tucson's gone from another way, trying to buff up damage. He has gone for the Zeke's convergence onto the Kramer.
Oh, they're showing the Vlad and the Galio over to the side. In the meantime, 3-man there from Jin Air will just burn down this Baron buff. And that's going to be taken. No response. Kramer didn't have a true shot barrage. Tried to scout that one out either. So second one goes over to Jin Air as we hit the 34-minute mark here on the board. 9-2, no kills really coming through recently.
Probably the most stark statistic if you're I Love Uv or the Afrika coaching staff is no Barons. 4 Barons to Jin Air to 0 in what has not been a drawn-out series.
I mean, the objective game from Afrika overall has been very weak in this series.
Game 1 was an objective game, but then the poke comp fell so far behind it wasn't going to take any objectives. And Game 2, Jin Air has been really on the board, so definitely a concern for Afrika, but something we should really embrace with Jin Air is how clinical they've been around objectives as they're trying to catch a Vladimir.
Forge God not even going to be anywhere near so on, but still is going to get finished on. Drops down the Hemo play, looking for the kill then. They're on to Kramer. Goes into the pool. Kramer going to get popped. He goes golden as soon as he comes out, but yeah, he is completely surrounded and he will die. In the meantime, Jin Air go ahead and knock down that final tier 2 turret, and they're looking for another inhib turret as they push in. Umpty's got the Triforce. They have the Varus. They rip this thing apart. As the recalls come through, Afrika now trying to answer, but it's too little too late. Inhibitor has already disappeared.
Yeah, Baron buff and a damaged jungler means goodbye to any sort of structures, so a kill for an entire inhibitor being collapsed. There are no good trades when you're against the second Baron buff of the game, but that is the punishment rightly deserved for Jin Air. And speaking of punishment, a 3-stack Elder would be pretty nice as well.
Well, they're not that greedy. They will go ahead and be waiting in the brush. Not going to just start this one up. Missing shot over the wall does fine. Umpty and proves that they are waiting nearby. They could just take the inside track onto the mid lane if they really want to. They still have a minute 40 seconds left onto the Baron.
We're saying this, they have all the options.
Yes, exactly. Well, the Forge God going to come through. Devour's there. Wraith going to get popped up. Umpty poking in from the side. They will spit out Teddy. Throws down that. Chain of Corruption immediately, and the Hero's Entrance will come in to help try to keep him alive. True Shot Barrage gets a bit of damage in across. They jump in. They absolutely annihilate Kuro. Stunned into the wall, however, does trade one back as Umpty dies, but it's still very heavily Jin Air coming out on top. Hemo Plague to get dropped in as so on chases him down the lane. A ton of damage chunking off. They're on to Kramer as he and Keen desperately try to make it back to the fountain. They will be able to do so, but Jin Air is looking to put the final nail in the coffin.
I'll actually teleporting onto mid because they want to bring a second minion wave in. You're right, it goes. They want to end it now. Only Kramer and Keen there for wave clear, and this could be the 2-0 no one saw coming.
30 seconds left. They're on to Kuro. A big part of their wave clear with that Corki. They are in. They're looking for Keen. He jumps away, knocked down to about half HP, looking for the transformation, but still doesn't even have the Gnar ultimate as that first Nexus turret falls so on, forcing back Kramer with the pool, just threatening him constantly. Keen will get the transformation, but he'll just die immediately after his Teddy puts another kill onto the board. 4-0 and 8, I do believe, as the Nexus gets exposed. Grace goes golden, will stay alive, gets the taunt in, and the Nexus will die. And Jin Air Green Wings against the run of play absolutely crush the Afrika Freaks here in game number 2. They close it out, and they turn around their bad luck streak.
And I hope the interviewers ask, how was your holiday? Because we saw the results of their break, the results of the time away from the Rift, the time away from the OGN and Gangnam Stadium. They have put together some new stuff. They've also worked on their objective game. The Grace Talia in game 1 really allowed so many free turrets, and in game 2, and honestly both games, clinical play around the Baron cemented what has been a lot of good starts for Jin Air in the past. This is the reward for their good play. A very clean 2-0. And sadly for the Afrika Freaks, they now have to really come under the microscope because they will face Kingzone Dragon X in what was supposed to be a 12-0 versus 16-0 match. We still don't know for sure that Kingzone will come in with a 2-0, but we do know that Afrika's win streak has ended, and suddenly they seem to have weaknesses that were papered over in all of those wins.
Fantastically done here, Afrika. Yeah, gonna have to go back to the drawing board and likely have to make up for lost time depending on how they decided to celebrate, they decided to use their time during that vacation, during the Lunar New Year. Let's go back in and start all over again, start grinding away in the scrims. As getting upset by Jin Air is certainly not what you want when you were looking to take second place, sole possession of second place here in the LCK with a victory in this match.
But you know what? It's what I want, Achilles, because it means that Jin Air does finish the first round robin 4-5, and this league that has at times looked very clear-cut. Of course, KSV were the favorites. That's not true. SKT in the top 5, how could it ever be anything else? That was not true for a long period either, even though they're gallivanting back. Who are the best 3 teams in Korea? You could ask 3 experts and get 3 different answers, and that's hype. So it's great to see that Jin Air are not no-hopers. They do not end the first round robin 3-6. 4-5 is a lot more competitive, and the battle for top 5 is as close-knit as it has ever been.
Everything just continues to heat up as the season goes on. First round robin nearly done, but even then, we have no clue what the standings are going to be by the time we roll around to the playoffs, that spring final. Who the hell's going to be in the spring final?
Nope.
So far, Kingzone is pretty much the only thing that you can maybe commit fully to that, but we'll go ahead and take a look at this one. 2 very quick games by Jin Air standards, 37 minutes just about on the clock here, but insanely clean from start to finish.
And Jin Air have honestly always looked best when the Jin Air adage of low long games hasn't applied to them. They had that run at the middle of summer season where they were able to be very aggressive. They had some great games at the start, and then of course there were the fiestas, but here they come back in what was not necessarily always a clean series. You always felt like Jin Air was the better team on the Rift at any moment, and against Afrika on a 10-game win streak, that was certainly an unexpected treat. So1 jumping back onto the Vladimir was great to see. I was a big fan of Umti's Camille, did so much heavy lifting in the early game. Every ultimatum was a kill. They capitalized on it well. They played as a team. And then Grace is probably the biggest kind of tier list you see raised, because suddenly their mid laner, formerly Yaharong, has looked like a beast, but Wraith will pick up the MVP here. It's not Tucson, even though he was on the Rift. It's going to be his opposing number, Tom Kench. From very early in the game, they got that kill in the 2v2, and suddenly Kramer and Tucson looked very fallible.
They really did, and this is the first MVP win here for Wraith so far in the 2018 season. I mean, getting things going,
man.
Really aggressive from the start, going in for the Devourer.
You don't think much about the first hit, but when the passive started to stack, super aggression to flash in after he'd already used the dash away, and then the Tom Kench ult came rolling in, not even a Malzahar, but guess what? The ultimatum, very similar proposition. Kramer and Tucson looked second class to Wraith and Teddy, but it wasn't just about Teddy. It was really about the other side and the other 4 members of Jin Air. Teddy performed like Teddy always does, but the other 4 members impressed us, improved their ranking, and that means Jin Air is a better team for them.
Yeah, massive step up from everybody across the board. Teddy just kind of reaping the benefits as he takes away all of the kills throughout this series, but fantastically done throughout Jin Air. One hell of a deserved victory. Anyway, you know, coming into this day, I would have said, yeah, probably Afrika Freaks 2-0. We'll get done early. There'll be a long break after the interview, and then we'll get ready to go into the second series. But, well, most of it was correct, just not the team that had the victory there. So surprising stuff overall here on the day from Jin Green Wings. And now we get to hear from our MVPs, Wraith and Grace. So we'll go ahead and throw over to Joel for the translation.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Joel with your interview translations. I don't know if I'm reading this right, but Jin Green Wings, they do pick up a 2-0 win against Afrika Freaks. And we're going to be here with today's MVPs, Grace and Wraith, for the interview. Absolutely fiery win for you guys. Probably one that hasn't been expected by many people, but how do you feel right now? Feels great. And we can see that you're feeling great with your expression there, but I feel like Jin Air, something that was shown today, was very uncharacteristic of being so rapidly progressing through the macro game here. You know, we tried to take some rest during the Lunar New Year's. I think having a nice rest, maybe that's the kind of the formula for why we did so well today. And I think I'm just proud of all my teammates who did so well. And I was kind of mad at how good we were today because it was really surprising. I think I agree with him on that one. I think the ban pick went towards our favor, and we got a lot of the picks that we have been particularly practicing. So getting these nice picks for us helped us out a lot. And it seems like, Grace, you're one of those players that doesn't seem like a rookie, in quote-unquote, when it means you don't seem to make all these rookie mistakes that we've seen from other people. I think you're right about that one, the fact that, you know, he doesn't show the bad side of being a rookie and shows a lot of potential going forward. And have you fully adjusted to the LCK now? Yeah, I think even from the very first game of the LCK, I've never really felt nervous. Adjustment, definitely, I feel like I'm there. And we felt like your Talia, along with the Skarner brought by Umti, felt a great chemistry going on with that one. I know Umti has been really focusing on the Skarner pick and try to bring it into competitive play, so I was trying to cooperate with that much as I can. And it's one of those things that, you know, Skarner can play a tank position, but it also serves a good amount of damage during team fights as well, so it can do double duties on that one. And we thought that the composition that you guys brought along today was a lot more aggressive and offensive in the way you guys formed that up today. It wasn't particularly offensive or intentionally aggressive in our composition, but it was a composition that just came forward with the bans that came through. We have a highlight with Grace, an exemplary play of how he got the MVP along with Umti's help here. I mean, you look at that, I mean, he definitely got in there, made an easy kill for me. I mean, right now, I mean, this play obviously goes to me, but the last play, definitely all the credit does go to Umti for making that play happen. I mean, we've seen Umti making a little bit extra aggressive initiates that wasn't that beneficial for you guys. I mean, it was our composition. That's the character of what we try to form around the style what we were into. We had to aggressively make initiates, kind of force it to happen to make opportunities come arise for us. And we just felt like some of the picks that you guys brought to today, especially with the Tahm Kench, is more popular in the West rather than in Korea. As Tahm Kench is not one of those picks that I pick a lot, but you know, they had a weak lane in the opposition with the bot lane, and getting something that strong in the laning phase like Tahm Kench, it's really, I don't think it's as useful when the kind of the power level between the bot lanes is equal. So You know, when we can be a little more aggressive, when we can try to power down the laning phase, Tom Kench is the better pick on that situation.
있었는데 이 세트도 재미있었던 것이 상대가 뽀삐 정글이 나왔어요.
And we thought that the most interesting situation with game 2 was that the Poppy jungle came through for the opposition. Did you expect that pick coming through? Yeah, we were looking at the Poppy the entire ban pick phase, and we were thinking to ourselves, is that really going to be a jungle? But you know, maybe they thought it was good, but from the result of it, I don't think it's a good pick. You know, you have to get those CCs connecting, but the Poppy in the jungling phase does not get many opportunities like that. And of course, you guys were going through 3 series losing streak, and you guys got a very surprising win today with the series. What was the thought process going through this series? A rather quick one for you guys. Yeah, we just try to be confident and not scare off against the other teams. I think that's the most important thing for us. You guys were very enthusiastic with your high fives after the game. We just told each other good job, and of course the head coach, he likes to come in, he likes to make some very enthusiastic high fives, so we tried to follow along. And a lot of the questions that came forth to today's series is that how much training did you guys do during the Lunar New Year's? You know, we're talking about the head coach being a farmer of, you know, what we are, and he just really cultivates us and really grows us to become really good potential players, and he's some of the biggest reasons for why we find a lot of success in this season right now.